Hello and welcome to Academy of Healing Nutrition info session. My name is Inga Bilinka. I am Academy Admissions and Enrollment Coordinator, and you are joined with us today on our Q&A webinar. One second here. As you know, we are currently accepting students for our online summer session, and we just wanted to give an opportunity for our prospective students to connect with us and ask questions. So today we will give you a little overview of the curriculum and what the program is all about. And then in the end, in the second part of the session, we will open some time for questions. So let me tell you how you can participate with us today if you are not familiar with the webinar format. You can raise a hand if you have a question. It's a little icon on your control panel on the right. You can also enter your questions in the question box on the panel, and we will answer the ones we have not covered in the webinar at the end of the session. So now before we begin, I just want to check in and make sure that the audio is on and you all can hear me loud and clear. So raise your hand if you can hear me loud and clear. Just click on the little icon, hand icon, that you can hear me. Okay, that's good. I see the hands. Let me put them down. So today we have Roger Green with us, who is Program Director and Founder. Roger's background is in macrobiotics. He studied shiatsu, TCM, and acupuncture. In his early 20s, he traveled to England to study at the East West Health Center, where he met Bill Tara, who has become actually one of our instructors. Roger has been a pioneer in the natural healing education, taught in over 30 countries, started one of Australia's first natural health clinics, and established this curriculum over 20 years ago in Australia, which is truly the first program of its kind in the world. In 2006, he brought Academy and its curriculum to the US, blending the time-tested principles of macrobiotics, TCM, Ayurveda, and modern research. In addition to being a founder of Academy, Roger also teaches at some of the weekends, which are focusing on the Chinese medicine aspects, food energetics, Oriental health assessment, and counseling strategies. So please welcome Roger. Roger, you're here?
Hello, everybody.
Great.
Hello from New York City.
Okay, so Roger, could you tell us a little bit about how you started the Academy and what are the main principles that Academy is teaching in its holistic health counseling curriculum?
Sure. Well, as Inga has already mentioned, I was in London in the early 80s, and that was essentially the pioneer days of the natural food movement and the natural healing movement. And I got involved with what was known as the East-West Center. It was the first of its kind institute. It was established in the 70s by Bill Tara. It was an educational program that combined Eastern philosophy with Western scientific principles. It was, in those days, it was primarily a macrobiotic foundation, because essentially macrobiotics was the pioneering philosophy that brought food as medicine and the natural health movement to the Western world. So I studied there. I qualified as a health counselor, and I also studied shiatsu. So I was actively involved with that community for a good 4 to 5 years. I was also working in the natural health movement and helping to produce a lot of the new foods that were coming through, everything from miso to tempeh, tofu, all these exciting new ingredients that we could start to incorporate into our Western diet. And then I went back to Australia. I studied traditional Chinese medicine. And essentially, I was a co-founder of one of Sydney's first natural healing centers. And that's where I established a school. And essentially, the school was a cooking school plus a counseling school. So essentially, students could learn, the dynamics of health counseling, health assessment, understanding, the philosophy of health maintenance and, mind-body techniques. And we also ran a cooking school, so students could have the practical uh, ex ex experience of the curriculum, which to this day I've maintained. I noticed very, very early on that people really needed to be around experienced chefs and people who've been doing this way of eating and cooking, and to, be able to learn from their skills and their practical know-how. And for those who have looked into the curriculum, you might have noticed that 4 out of our 10 weekends are practical cooking classes. So anyway, I was also running a shiatsu diploma course, and that curriculum is essentially one of the longest established curriculums in the world, where we combine what I consider the 4 time-tested areas of food as medicine. So we draw on traditional Chinese medicine, essentially because it's very easy to understand, and learning the dynamics of yin and yang are very empowering, and they act as a wonderful compass in your life to be able to make balance with, your activities, with the seasons, and with your health problems. So there's a strong focus on the energetic side of nutrition coming through traditional Chinese medicine and some of the clinical applications. We draw on the lifestyle philosophies of macrobiotics, particularly with Bill Tara's weekend. And of course, you'll learn about some of the wonderful healing foods that macrobiotics has introduced into the Western world. We integrate Ayurvedics, which again is another 6,000-year-old medical system like traditional Chinese medicine. And we bring in Western nutritional theory. Now, Western nutritional theory is, it pretty much remained fairly untouched for the first sort of 80 to 100 years. It started to be developed last century. But in the last 10 years, we've had radical leaps of theories and very, very interesting information on superfoods and supplements. I personally think that the best way to experience the Western nutritional theme is to be able to read about it in a very concise way. So we have wonderful materials that you can read about that in your own time. Because our focus in this curriculum is very experiential and blending all the time-tested areas of, food as medicine. So essentially the curriculum, all of those components of that curriculum, I put under a banner called the longevity diet. And because we also draw on the principles of the Western Price Foundation, which is a very, very interesting body of work undertaken by an American dentist in the 20s through to the 50s, where he traveled to cultures of longevity and academically studied what they were eating. And of course, whenever these people got involved with the Western diet, their rates of diabetes and all the diseases associated with the Western world, it started to increase. And when they were able to maintain their traditional diet, they had wonderful teeth, strong immune systems, no degenerative disease, and healthy children. So that's another time-tested area that we bring in. I've noticed that all of these traditions, in a way, have their front and back, or their sort of their good aspects and their bad aspects. Well, it's not a moralistic thing, good and bad here, but there's certain things that traditions get right, and in a way, sometimes they overemphasize certain things, or because of certain teachings, they became too narrow or restrictive. I consider that we're bringing out all of the good dynamics and principles of these time-tested philosophies, and that we don't get involved in any dogma. We essentially get into the the principles and the energetics, and the students have a wonderful sort of journey of self-discovery and freedom, in the sense of really starting to experiment with all these new foods and energetics that you get introduced to, and you start to figure things out for yourself. One of our mottos is you become your own doctor. So one of the banners we have is you will learn the longevity diet. The longevity diet is this theme of seasonal and traditional and holistic and whole foods with some very, very, very powerful foods from the east, like seaweeds and things like miso, foods that powerfully detox you and alkalize your blood and strengthen your immune system, and you'll get very grounded with this. You can heal pretty much any health ailment, and you can get very clear and very strong in what you want to do in this life. So that's the purpose of the foundation of a good, healthy diet, is to be able to have the energy and the clarity to develop yourself and to achieve, your life's purpose. So we have a combination of, spirituality and philosophy and practicality in this curriculum. So you'll see that the curriculum is a nice balance of practical cooking classes and the theory and philosophy. So to give you an idea, my first weekend, we go into, what is healing, and we look at the food energetics, like the warming and cooling and the yin and yang, expansion and contraction of foods. We get into introducing you to all the ingredients of the longevity diet. There's a lot of foods that you need to be introduced to, including all the medicinal mushrooms and superfoods and ways of preparing grains to make them digestible. And that first weekend is also complemented by Marion, where she introduces you to themes like food and mood and some of the brain chemistry foods that are important to know. That's followed by your first practical weekend with Melanie Ferreira. So Melanie Ferreira, like myself, has been involved with the pioneer stages of food as medicine for the last 30 years. She's a well-known whole foods chef and teacher here in New York. Her classes are very, very inspiring. She teaches 3 out of the weekends, and she covers a lot of ground. You'll be truly deeply inspired by her practical cooking. You get to taste all of the dishes, and essentially you get to absorb her, more than like 35 years of teaching and working with, holistic foods and food as medicine. And then that's pretty much followed by another weekend that we do in health assessment. So this curriculum is, first of all, designed for you to develop your life and to strengthen yourself and to heal any ailments and health problems you have. And some of you might want to be going on to use that body of work to help other people. So we call that the nutritional coaching or holistic practitioner or longevity diet specialist. So we integrate a weekend of health assessment primarily through the eyes of traditional Chinese medicine, because it's easy to learn and it's very down to earth. You get to know, qualities of too much heat and too much cold, and what organs are involved, and what sort of foods contribute to those health problems. You get to know a little bit of facial diagnosis and tongue diagnosis and general signs and symptoms and how to bring them back to the health of the organs. Now that weekend is followed by some more practical cooking, and then we have Bill Tara teaching in February. And Bill was a pioneer of the whole holistic health movement and personal development movement. He's been doing this for over 40 years. He's been one of my original mentors in me developing my educational programs. I've sponsored him many times to various conferences and summer camps around the world. He's been pretty much teaching this weekend in the academy here in New York since 2006, and he covers some very, very deep and interesting material about the leadership qualities that you need to become a health practitioner. Uh, he uh, he portrays a lot of his 40 years of counseling experience and working with people, and covers a lot of what I call the challenge to medicine, and the ways you can develop yourself as a practitioner and a leader in our community. Now that weekend is followed by a weekend that we call the Barefoot Doctor. Again, a very, very practical weekend where you can learn some practical exercises, some simple forms of body work, some simple forms of massage, and also home remedies and compresses. Again, one of the themes is to be your own doctor. There's, to be able to secure your health, you need to know a good diet, and you need to know the simple remedies that you can use for common ailments. Now that weekend is pretty much followed by Nam Singh. Nam Singh is one of the, again, pioneers of traditional Chinese medicine in America. He had a very, very interesting childhood. As a young boy, he was sent off every summer to Taiwan, where he studied in a Taoist monastery and studied the Taoist healing arts. And then in America, he was an acupuncture practitioner for many years, but his true passion was actually cooking. He's run many restaurants in California, and his real true passion is actually showing people how to use Chinese herbs within cooking. And this is a very, these teachers are very, very rare in the world, how to show people, using Chinese herbs. In fact, I only know of about 3 or 4 teachers in the whole world that can do that, and Nam Singh is one of them. So we have a lot of fun that weekend, in the sense by that stage you're a lot more knowledgeable about traditional Chinese medicine, the organs of the body, the yin and yang, warming and cooling, things like foods that build up your blood and move your qi, foods that are good for removing damp from the body or removing heat. And we take you to another quantum level with you being able to integrate these superfoods, these Chinese herbs. We have a lot of fun. For instance, the Friday we go down to Chinatown with Nam Singh and do a Chinatown tour of all of the Chinese herb shops. You get to know at least 12 to 15 herbs that you can put into teas and soups and juks and stocks that really, really strengthen your qi and your blood. Quite frankly, you need to know these herbs that the Chinese have been using for thousands of years to really give your health that sort of extra boost of energy. And for people who've got particularly deficient health problems, this basic knowledge of Chinese herbs is very, very important in your work as a health counselor. And then we have a weekend also with Robert Sachs. And Robert Sachs integrates the Ayurvedic philosophy and medicine and healing techniques. It's a fun weekend where you get to do some exercises and meditation techniques, learn a little bit about the Indian cosmology and philosophies, and the foods and supplements and herbs that are used from the Ayurvedic approach. And Inga and Marion are both very, very active in the curriculum these days, and they contribute a lot to these classes, as well as they contribute a lot to the business training and the counseling skills that we integrate as we go along. But particularly the last weekend, there's a strong focus on you developing the business skills, the counseling skills that you need as a health practitioner. We supply a lot of great, wonderful reading material. You get a workbook from us, plus there's dozens and dozens of files up on your online virtual classroom that Inga will talk a little bit about. So we got excellent reading material, and templates and PowerPoints anything that you need for you to develop your business as a health coach. So, Inga, would you like me to hand it back to you now?
Sure. I would just like to ask you a question that I often get from speaking to people who are interested in the course. And the question is about the longevity diet mainly. And I often get asked if longevity diet is a vegetarian-based diet. Since the raw foods and vegetarianism and veganism are becoming more and more popular, people are asking if the curriculum is pretty much vegetarian. So, do you have something to say to that?
Well, since I've started running this curriculum over 25 years ago, of course, we have students from a variety of backgrounds doing our training. And I always say to them, first of all, there's no dogma in our curriculum. However, what I mean by that is we don't gravitate to any particular one way of doing things. We want people to discover that for themselves and to get good at doing it for themselves. What I do say to people is if you are vegan, then by doing our training, you're going to become a more successful vegan. If you are a vegetarian, by doing our training, you're going to become a more successful vegetarian. Because obviously there's a few little pitfalls here and there when you're, embarking on such a little bit more narrow range of nutrition. And there's a lot of tricks to the trade that you need to get to know, some cooking styles that help to balance out the yin and yang energies, especially if you're a raw food enthusiast, if there's certain like more cooling or cold symptoms that are developing, our curriculum will show you how you can balance that out by knowing, more warming cooking techniques or more warming herbs. But I do make a point that if you are following a particular like vegan or vegetarian diet, it mightn't be appropriate for other people that you're in the future might be counseling. Uh, you have to be aware of the energetics, and for some people, it's going to be very, very important that they incorporate some fish and even some poultry and red meat in their diet to be bringing their blood back up and their energy back up and so forth. So the main thing here is that it's open to anybody to attend. Uh, you get to enjoy all of the foods. A lot of the foods we cook are obviously vegetarian orientated, but we show people how to eat from all of the food groups, including in our cooking classes. You'll get to see how to make animal food more balanced, and quality. Going through quality is very, very important. The quality of fats, and you
Yeah,
know
exactly.
we
I
don't
feel
we don't have any particular. We just call it the longevity diet, and then people can really get a lot out of that and work it out for themselves.
Yeah, so I really like that approach to the diet, and that there is no one diet that fits all, as we know, and that it's really important, especially in this day and age, to really pay attention to the quality of the food that you're eating and where it's coming from. And there's a number of movements that we can support to make our planet a better place. Like there is the um, movement against genetically modified foods and so on. So, getting ourselves involved and trying to find as local as possible and choose organic when we can. So, all of these concepts are covered a lot in our classes, and especially Melanie goes into the proper selection of foods, the quality of the foods. So, thank you, Roger.
Exactly.
It was a really great answer.
Good. Shall I hand over to you now, Inga, to cover some of these other aspects, or?
Sure. So basically, at the moment, we are running an enrollment campaign for our online summer session. And I just want to explain a little bit what it means to participate in the online summer session. And I see a couple of people on our webinar today that are actually interested in it and they're enrolling. So I will discuss a little more as to what they can expect. So the summer session starts on June 1st, and if you are doing the program exclusively online, you can finish in 10 months and basically graduate in March of next year, 2013. And we always recommend to all of the students who enroll in our courses, whether it's um, online or live in New York, that they attend as many of the classes live, especially the ones where we do the practical work and cooking. So any of the Melanie's weekends, Namsing, we have the Great Ayurvedic Weekend where we do some exercises and meditation, and the Barefoot Doctor also where we actually do some hands-on home remedies and exercises. So whether you are enrolling in the online program or a live program that starts in October, you are welcome. So you have this option to attend any of the live classes that start in October.
I'd
And
just like to make a point there, Inga, just so that people really get this, that they can start watching these modules beginning in June, as you've stated, and then the good news is you can actually also attend these modules in New York. So you get the opportunity to kind of see it and listen to it twice in a way. So it really, it increases your learning curve with this. But it's a very, very flexible. As Inga has mentioned, you can do this training completely online, or you can do the training, of course, completely in-house here in New York, where it starts in October, or you do a combination of both, in the sense that you get started with your training now, along with the great discount for the summer school starting, and then attending primarily we always encourage you, as Inga has just mentioned, to try to get to some of the practical classes that we have coming up here in New York. So it's a very flexible curriculum.
yes, and generally what happens once you enroll is that you will get the workbooks to follow the recordings that we will be mailing to you, emailing. So you will get one module recording per month, and that makes it 10 modules, and you can graduate in March of the following year. And you also get access to our online classroom. And in the online classroom, you can find the announcement area where we'll be posting the extracurricular events or any announcements related to the venues of our workshops, and so on. And also, there is a file library where you can find not just the course materials, but also some additional resources, like PDF files of supplements and PowerPoint presentations. So there's a lot of additional material there. And we encourage our students to get into the online classroom as often as they can, and actually participate in the forum feature where they can interact with other students and some of the faculty members. So, and of course, students can call us at any time, and if they need any help or support throughout the course, we are here to help. Um, so, Roger, do you have anything to say about that?
No, I think that covers it pretty well. And of course, if you've got any questions about this, you can type it into the window, and Inga can answer it for you. I think we
Right.
should move on because of time to the other dynamics here.
Yes. So, just one thing that I want to cover before we start taking the questions is the course graduation requirements. And in order to graduate, you need to complete all of the 10 modules. So if you're watching them online, We want to make sure that you watch all the 10. And if you are coming to the live classes, we strongly encourage that you attend as many as you can of the live classes. And if you are going to miss any of the live classes, watch the recording instead. And there will be some quizzes in the online classroom that you can complete at your own pace. There are several of them after some of the modules. There are also some of the assignments that you will be given throughout the course, which include something like putting together your own health history form, or the client forms that you submit to them when you enroll them into your programs. Or another assignment is to actually start working with a guinea pig client and record your progress. So what are the challenges of you working with a client? What questions came up? What were you able to answer? What were you not? So we encourage you to actually start practicing while you're doing the course. Um, so then in your online classroom, you can also find 7 kitchen practicums. And the practicums include some recipes, and these are additional recipes to what Melanie and Namsing are covering in their cooking classes. So we encourage you to try some of those recipes, and they are pretty much season oriented and 5 element oriented. So you can kind of start feeling on your own body what it means to live by the seasons and to practice the 5 elements. Um, so we also understand that everybody has time restrictions and certain obligations and family life and so on. So again, this is very flexible, and just do whatever you can, as many recipes as you can, and just slowly integrate it into your life. Then in order to get your certificate, you actually have one prerequisite that is an absolute must, and that is a final project paper. So a project paper is something that you write for us in order to get your certificate, but you also can use it in your own practice and give it as a document to your clients. We ask you to choose a topic that you would like to cover, and it may be something that resonates with you on some level. Either you are dealing with this health condition yourself, or you want to get more information to gather some resources to help somebody else to overcome a certain health concern. So you pick one subject, for example, diabetes, and you cover it from all the aspects and all the angles which you have learned in the program. So you cover it from the Western medicine point of view, the Chinese medicine. If you know any home remedies that are great for this condition, include them. If you have any specific recipes that you know that you will find out in the program how to put together for specific health conditions, include them in your paper. And any other resources like books or websites or health practitioners in your area that you can suggest to your clients. So put all of this together in a 10 to 15 page paper, and this is your main prerequisite. So if you have any other questions about the requirements, the graduation requirements, or anything else, I'm going to open the questions and answers session now. And just to remind you, we just had a newsletter that came out lately with a special promotion. And that is, if you enroll now into the online summer session, you get a $500 discount on your tuition. So that's on top of all of the other discounts that you can possibly get. And you can see other discounts that we offer on our website page when you go to the tuition. And also, we can just talk about this when we are on the phone and just work out your tuition right there. So, um, so this is the current promotion, and I encourage you to jump in and take advantage of it. Again, you can enroll in the online summer session and then still come to the live classes in October. It's not something either or. You can do both. So take advantage of it. And now I will open it finally to the questions. So please type in your questions, or if you want to ask them live, raise your hand and I will unmute you. Okay? So let's see. So I have a question. How much studying do students need to do between weekends? So
Well,
between one and
I can have a go at answering that, and
sure.
maybe you can comment on that.
Absolutely.
First of all, the curriculum is an experiential curriculum. The emphasis is on you, applying the knowledge that you get into your daily life. Uh, so that's the main thing about this curriculum. Uh, Now, of course, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. Uh, so the first criteria there is I would encourage you to read all of the workbooks and study guides that we have, because there's some very, very rich information, very great philosophy and input about, life and the universe, and, East and West perspectives on, consciousness and healing and so forth. So there's a little bit of reading you can do in your own time, and pretty much it's paced out by simply just following each module. So when each month you'll do a module that you can watch in your own time. It's, files that you just desktop streaming. And then when you go to the classroom, you'll find some very, very good reading material about that will complement that particular subject. And then, as Inga has mentioned, there's also a series of what we call kitchen practicums, which are just more information, more nutritional information, but they have some recipes. So we would like you to, experiment with some of these recipes, and of course, if you have just finished watching Melanie's first cooking weekend, I highly recommend that you basically just copy some of her recipes, because they're just wonderful, wonderful, very tasty, nutritious recipes. So that's the first thing. That's very, very experiential. There's wonderful reading materials, and the emphasis is on you doing some practical things in your own life, with your shopping, the way you spend your hard-earned money, buying some of these new foods, stocking up your kitchen, and starting to experiment with, the wonderful new way of life. Now, then, on a more academic level, there's some simple exercises that we get you to do. Further down, like about a third of the way through, or halfway through the curriculum, we introduce some counseling techniques, and we introduce you to some templates that you can start to tailor make for your own personal use. So that's an exercise of cutting and pasting and making your own templates that you can then use to have your first counseling session. And what we mean by that is you get somebody that's prepared to do some work with you in you applying some of the information that you've received in the curriculum so far into reality, into working with a person, asking them questions, getting feedback, making some recommendations. So that's an important exercise that we'd like you to start to do about a third or halfway through the curriculum. So they're all fun things to do. And then finally, there's only one more serious academic thing to do by the end of the course, and that is what Inga has mentioned. It's a paper, and it's very much up to you what sort of approach you take. Some people aren't very, good at writing. You can do this in a very creative way. You can, present it in any way you want. But essentially, most people just start to compile some information about a particular health problem that they have a resonance with, and they do some research. They do some Western perspective on it, and they do some Eastern medicine perspective on it, and they just pull that together. It's usually only about 5 to 10 pages, and that's presented to Inga. You just email it in, and it's a simple assessment is done. And as Inga has mentioned, that also helps you to pull all of your thoughts and thinking together around if you are going to be using this curriculum to help other people in your health practice, because that project, that document can actually assist you in promoting your work, and specializing perhaps in, cancer or diabetes or a whole range of health problems. So there's not too much work to do in between each modules. It's experiential. You need to allocate some time every week to watch. If you're doing it online to begin with over the next, 4 or 5 months of the summer, you obviously need to, don't watch TV on Tuesday and Thursday nights, and attend to some of the, program that we provide as desktop, which you can do in your own time. So it's very flexible. It doesn't, we're not here to put more stress on your life. We're here to inspire you and give you some practical tools to integrate into your life.
Okay, that's great. So I have a couple more questions, and the next one is picky eaters. Are you able to provide tips for helping to integrate a more healthful way of eating and cooking into the average American diet for those trying to shift and trying to help perhaps reluctant family members to shift?
Well, we always say to start off very, very slowly, and the way you do that is it's the principle of substitution. Now, people are creatures of habit around food. It's the most deeply ingrained habit that they have since childhood. And it actually takes quite a bit to reorientate your day-to-day habits. That's why, folks, I've been crazy enough to run a cooking school for 25 years. You've got to have that sort of practicality there. You've got to be inspired by those new dishes and new tastes and new foods coming into your life in a wonderful way, in an inspiring way. So it's the principle of substitution. So for instance, if somebody is hooked on coffee and they drink, 16 cups of coffee, you can introduce some wonderful, drinks and herbs that are, coffee-like, and they're a great substitute, and they're very good for you, and they're not harmful for you like caffeine is to the liver and the kidneys and the nervous system. If you're used to eating a lot of meat, you can introduce the theme of eating organic meat. It's a little bit more expensive. They might even cut down on how much they eat. Small and cooking styles where there's smaller. When it comes to meat, we have a tendency to go with the Asian style of cooking rather than the Anglo-Saxon style. So slivers of meat, stir-fried into a lot of vegetables. It's just wonderful. And it provides that, that kind of quality that they're still used to, and the textures that they're still, and the taste that they're still used to, that's a lot more healthier. Now, you can start easily introducing some of the probiotics that we get into. This is very, very important because most people's digestive systems are very, very weak. So, for instance, just making a simple miso soup, you cook a soup, and then just season it with miso once or twice a week. Introduce, that to your friends and family and children. Everybody loves it. It's alkalizing. Within a week or two, people can start to feel some shifts in their health. They feel more grounded. They feel less acid. They might even sleep better. All sorts of things can start to happen with just, 1 or 2 simple ingredients introduced into your diet, and then taking out little bit by little bit some of the harmful habits that people have. So it's best not to go into cold turkey with this. You just do it, step by step, slowly. You just integrate some of the substitutes. For instance, dairy food. There's some wonderful, deep fried tempeh has got a wonderful, rich taste, just like dairy food, but it doesn't have, the congestion that dairy food has, and so forth. So you'll definitely learn these tricks of the trade from us. But in the meantime, they are the sort of places to start. You just keep it simple. Start introducing some, different herbal teas, green tea instead of 16 cups of coffee, some simple grain dishes, cooking with noodles. Now there's a trick because noodles are very, very easy to use. Now, Inga, you might want to add to this.
Yeah, actually, I remember discussing with the students. They were saying that sometimes it feels difficult to get the support from their families. Say if they're getting on this healthy diet and the rest of their family is staying on the standard American diet, so to say, and it's hard for them to travel home for the holidays. So we discuss a lot of those things. And also, interestingly, what happens when you start shifting your own diet? People naturally get curious about what you are doing, and even if they still are sticking to their habitual diet, so to say, uh, watching what you are doing, something is happening within them too, that they maybe get curious about it and they want to try something what you're doing. So shifts like that happen. It's kind of infectious. So once you get on this like healthy organic lifestyle, um, they will follow. Just give them the time. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to completely like change them or reproach them for their old ways, but really just give an example of your own life. What do you think, Roger?
I totally agree. Absolutely. Like when you become more healthier, happier, more contented, and also physically, your skin looks better. You shifted a little bit of weight. Everybody is curious about, wow, what are you doing? Because whatever you're doing, it's working. So
That's
that does become contagious. You do become an attractor for other people in your life, wanting to know more about, the knowledge and skills that you have. So, it's a fun thing. Remember the joy of life. Remember that it's most important to just share food no matter what it is, because, people in your life is very, very important. And this is not about creating separation. It's about creating a feeling of oneness. But, there are challenges here for sure. And, a little bit of, discipline is involved and a little bit of thought is involved. But, at the end of the day, it's really, really worth it.
okay. So we're moving on to the next question from Elizabeth. She's asking, is the program applicable if someone is interested in learning the curriculum, cooking, healing information without interest in becoming a counselor or starting a business?
Absolutely. The why people do this curriculum, the common ground for everybody is their personal development in terms of health in the true word of what we call preventive medicine. Yeah, so there's two aspects to food as medicine. There's, the curative side in the sense of the food as therapy. You can cure diabetes, cancer, all sorts of things with appropriate diet and supplements and herbs and exercise and self-reflection and so forth. And there's also the theme of preventive in the sense of your day-to-day actions are more in harmony with nature. They strengthen your constitution so that you don't get health problems in the first place, so that you can lead a very, very active and clear and dynamic, purposeful life. Now, that's the bottom line for everybody, that we want to develop our consciousness. Otherwise, what are we doing on this planet? And we want to develop our lifestyle skills. So primarily this curriculum is geared up for that. And then embedded in the curriculum is material and training for those who do want to use it professionally, who do want to use this as a career, and to do want to form a business, or maybe even complement some other kind of services that they already offer. And so we cover all of that material as well. So do you want to add to that, Inga?
Just a little that many students in this program are doing it purely for themselves. They either want to overcome a certain health condition or help a close family member. I have numerous cases where we had people who refused a common medical treatment, say for their cancer, and instead they chose to do the program so they can learn how to heal their own body and how to learn what to do from there. You know, how to make sure that it doesn't come back, how to achieve that preventive lifestyle that will keep them from getting sick again. So many people come just for that, but then who knows where it's going to take them? Because sometimes those healing stories become um, like the guiding principle in a person's life, and they start teaching about it. You know, they've taken it through their own experience, and then they want to share it with the rest of the world. So you start the program by, like Roger said, focusing on your own health, and the whole curriculum is designed in such a way that it takes you step by step through those 10 weekends or 10 months on your own healing journey. And then if you feel confident and ready to make it your career, you can do so, and we provide you with tools to make it happen. So
Yes.
okay, just another question. Actually, I have two. How large are your live classes?
Well, we have each year there's a little bit of how would you say diversity. We've had classes with about 25 people, sometimes 15 people. It's always a little bit hard to say, but that's the good news, is that it's an intimate group of people. So it's not like outrageously large. And so there's plenty of space and energy for personal attention and questions. And so on average, it's about 15 to 20 people attend the live classes here in New York.
Okay. And the next question is, are the online modules recorded video sessions, and how long does each session usually run?
So what you get is like a series of uh, video clips. So for instance, you get sent a link that you put in your username and password. And then it goes on to a screen where you'll see day one of for instance, the first module. You'll see day one, and there's usually about a half a dozen clips there that are the films taken throughout that day. So you just click on it and watch each clip, and that naturally just goes on to the next one. So basically, it's just a complete recording of the weekend that people had in New York that they experienced
Right.
in
So,
house.
so basically, the weekend at Academy is a Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 to 5 with a lunch break in between. So, the rest of the hours from 9:30 to 5 are the hours on the video session, which is split into several segments. And
Yeah,
the good thing is that you can watch those segments again and again. You can pause and then restart it again if you need to go and do something. And you will have the video available for you for a whole month. So you can watch as many little segments as you want in a given day.
exactly.
Okay, so any other questions, guys? Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Melaine. Elizabeth, any other questions? The two of you have been the most active questioners. Okay, I guess no other questions. So we will close this webinar session, and I invite you to email any other questions that you can have to my email address. It's on your screen right now. It's Inga at academyhealingnutrition.com. And if you're ready to enroll, also you can give me a call at 646-812-0091, and we will discuss the tuition and the discounts and any other logistics over the phone. So, Roger, thank you so much for being here and answering all these great questions and telling us
Well, thank,
about the curriculum and the program.
well, thank you, Inga, and I hope to meet some of the people there out in internet land.
Mhm.
And I do encourage you to. This is a very, even if I don't say it so myself, it's a very, very good curriculum, and you will learn a lot about yourself and food and healing. It's information and experience that you can not only integrate into your life, but your children's children's children will benefit from this. As you know, we live in very, very challenging times now, with like virtually 1 in 3 people getting cancer and all sorts of things. Diabetes, all sorts of things. Degenerative diseases are on the rise, and people are very, very confused about food. Well, this curriculum will bring you clarity. It will bring you good information. It will bring you practical skills. And I consider I've brought together, the best teachers in the world to contribute to this curriculum. And the faculty's been the same since it started, and the faculty knows what each other is doing, and the curriculum is a very smooth, process of, you learning. I enjoy putting curriculums together. That's my thing. I love, integrating the learning experience for the students. So I hope you can join us this year. Do take, as Inga says, do take advantage of this, the summertime special. If you pay your course fee or your deposit this month, then you can start the program and you get that extra benefit of an extra discount, and you get the benefit of starting to watch some of these modules and then actually being able to come and attend some of them in class when everything begins again in October. So looking forward to meeting you if any of you do come to New York in October for the first weekend. And bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Roger. And thank you, everybody who was with us today. And we are looking forward to connecting with you either live or online. Have a great day.